Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Joining us is a dynamic, result-oriented professional with a master's degree in gender studies and an impressive expertise in tax auditing and public service with a suite of advanced certifications from globally recognized institutions. She is committed to driving inclusive leadership and economic empowerment, particularly among women and youth, breaking barriers, shattering glass ceilings. Welcome with us, beautiful Ebosel.
I know.
I was going to pause there. I was going to pause there, and you did not prepare me ahead because you are my in-law. I should not be stumbling on an Edo name.
You see?
All right,
I will help you.
Please.
Ebo Setale Okolegbe.
Ebo Setale Okolegbe. And it's such a beautiful name.
What does it mean? Yeah. Okay, so Ebo Setale is my first name, which means whatever God says is final.
Oh, I have a nephew that is, we call him Bosa. We didn't, I didn't even, and that's his full name.
Yes. You shouldn't shorten it.
Ebo Setale, yes.
Ebo Setale, whatever God says is fine. And Okolegbe means, that's my surname. It means whatever people say about you, I mean, people will slander you, but it will never kill you.
Oh my goodness,
I want your name.
It's a sentence.
It's a combo. No, it's like what it means.
It's from very
what God says to what people say. Don't say it doesn't.
Yeah,
I love it. Your parents, they deserve some kudos.
It's showing.
Yes. You are a living testimony.
So, but there's a short form. What's the short?
She doesn't like it.
Just say able. That means whatever.
Number two, please don't go there.
I really love your name.
Yes.
Well, since we're talking about names, my son's name is Enai Foge.
Oh.
Yes, and my daughter's name is Aima Lohi.
From
your place. Yes.
So what does Anamoli?
Aima Lohi means as God wants it, as God wills it. And then Enai Foge means the source of this blessing shall never cease.
Oh my goodness. I'm having the chills.
No, Edo names are just fantastic.
Yes, they are. They really are. But before we go into your interview and before we get to talk about the amazing things that you've done, we'd like to first gist with you. You're supposed to be like our guest co-host, so you're supposed to be like among the ladies of your view, and then we get to do what we do.
Chit-chat with us.
Yes, chit-chat with us. So we're talking about, it's not gossip, it's just that we want to learn from this particular Nollywood star called Ibrahim Charters, and his reunion with his ex-wife. So Olayinka Solomon is the ex-wife, and her current husband Olasukomi Mabinuri. This sparked reaction online because they met each other. The trio were spot embracing and exchanging pleasantries at the premiere of Tony Ibrahim's Yalode movie in Lagos. So on today's show, we're going to be analyzing the reasons some former couples enjoy cordial relationships while others can't even see eye to eye. We'll also discuss how to handle situations when your partner is very cordial with your ex. You know, you're married now, and you're seeing your ex, your husband is having such good relationship with the ex. How to avoid, stories that touch the heart, and why some people don't feel comfortable with such level of cordiality. And so you can join that conversation. We'll have Ebo Setale joining that conversation as well. You can call us on 02016352013, or you can call us on 09024163440. Now, how would you feel, put you on the spot, if you are in a relationship, the person you're in a relationship with has such cordial relationship with their ex? Would it make you feel uncomfortable, and why would you feel uncomfortable?
No.
Why would not?
First of all, I like money. I'm telling you. So if the relationship is all about, mutual benefits, which has to be financial benefits, please, why not? Go ahead. It's business now. Go ahead. I really don't mind. So I know that, you're my person.
Okay.
You're my person. Nobody's going to take that away from me.
Okay, I don't think that you are on that same...
Well,
where are you on the spectrum?
It's hard to, these things are very nuanced, right?
Yes.
Human relationships are very complex and intriguing. So it's not a cookie cutter kind of situation. To a large extent, if I were to break up with an ex and I got into a new relationship, what would determine whether I would still have a relationship? Maybe very platonic. It has to be very platonic. Maybe very civil. Maybe very civil and diplomatic would be what led to the breakup. I have an ex who I broke up with maybe 5 years. I would never ever speak to him again because there are things that he did that I cannot even say on national TV. Things that cross moral lines, familial lines. It goes very deep. We can't get into it right now. So I would never speak to this person. But I've had exes where, you know, the breakups were, it wasn't a case of he cheated or I cheated.
Amicable.
There was no violence of any sort. It just didn't work out. And the way the person breaks it to, the conversations that were had leading to the moment where the breakup happened is very, very key. However, I believe that if you are in a new relationship, specifically in marriage, by the time you get married to your person, you should know your partner enough to know what they would count as disrespect, right? Yeah. You would know what would serve as triggers for, and you taking yourself into consideration also. If your partner, your current husband, or if my current husband, for instance, was, if I were to see him being very with his ex, how would I feel? So oftentimes we're very quick to consider is that the hug? Are they hug? Is that them hugging? But I don't want to believe it.
Yeah, all three of them. Like it's a 3-in-1 hug.
No.
This is okay.
Maybe it's
the husband
very
hugging
vague,
the husband, the wife hugging.
Maybe it was for show. You know how showbiz is.
No, it could maybe they actually
it could be real. It could be real.
Okay,
it could be real.
No, but that's a point.
It could be real.
That's a point.
Anyway, it depends. It depends on
yes.
Okay, so it depends.
So from your own point of view, it's nuanced. It depends on how you broke up with that person. That would
how
determine
your partner feels about things like that. You have to respect the feelings
for you.
Of your
You're
partner.
not even bothered about yourself. It's about how my partner feels and how we broke up. So it's fine. I get you.
No, I haven't gotten to that part.
Oh, you're still going to go there.
Yes. So like I said, about me, it depends on how the but I would still create boundaries. Look, you and I know a handshake can easily become a hug, and a hug can become a shoulder to cry on can easily become what? Let's not finish the other part. So it's always important to establish boundaries.
People have started.
Boundaries for yourself, boundaries that ensures that the other person understands that this thing, you know, where exes were exes, is going to stay that way for the foreseeable future till this world ends.
Yeah, so they have history together. So they have a son together, and the son is in the US. And so the hug was in appreciation of how well you're taking care of my son who lives with you in the US.
That's
according to the story that we have. So that context is also very important. But Ramatu, how would you? I know you will not be in this situation. None of us pray to be in a situation where we have, but like this. No, this was a marriage. They had a relationship, so the marriage did not, and then every other thing happens. But if it were to happen, how would you feel?
Okay, so like now they met in a public place and all. First of all, I'm going to ask my new spouse, are you okay with me? You know. Because whatever, I have to make sure that he's comfortable.
First, actually.
Yes, I have to make sure that my spouse is comfortable with the reaction and everything. It couldn't have been a hug. It could be just a handshake, or maybe when he comes close, hello, how are you doing? And it ends, and everybody goes. But this one, they're doing all mushy and everything. I have to really consider the new guy and ask him, are you okay with it? If you're okay with it, then we go on. If you're not okay with it, it's very important that anybody that if you have an ex, if you are married and the person becomes an ex, it's very important to still keep that cordial relationship, especially if you have children involved, so that when there are things that will come up that you need your spouse to help you feeling. Like for example, when you are bringing up kids, there are times that there will be something that a child will do, and you want the father to reprimand the child. So it's very important that you keep that relationship so that you'll be able to call the father and I need you to come in. To come and help with this, come and help us. But
not if that ex was violent and aggressive to the point where your life and the life of your kids were in danger. How about that?
So if he was violent and everything, but that doesn't mean he's not the father to my child.
No, of course not. I know. So if he's a constant threat even to the well-being of the kids, you still allow.
I will.
Yes. When that context plays out, it's important to protect the minors. Yes. So, but I get what Ramatu is saying. Ramatu is saying that in the interest of the children involved, once you have a child with someone,
it changes everything.
Don't longer think about
only yourself.
Or Okafor's law of once they it might happen again. You need to ensure that we protect that child. And protecting that child means cordial relationship.
Just
Within
hello, hi.
boundaries.
Yes, and also, sorry, before you go on, and also salutation is no love. So you can just greet someone. It doesn't mean that you love the person. So it's just
Being polite
cordial.
is not.
Thank you.
Yeah. So for me, I don't know what the big deal is. It's in public. It's before everyone. There's no hanky panky. You know, this is based on the story. So our context is this hugging that's happening in front of everybody. And for me, I just think that the lesson to learn. First of all, you mentioned it. This person, the ex, hugged the new spouse first. So already there's a relationship that's been happening behind the scenes. And if it was a terrible relationship, trust me, they will not be hugging so closely.
Oh, do you know the backstory?
No, well, I don't know about the. I don't know. Oh, okay. You see, we need
there's
context.
context
We
there.
need more context because I don't know. What I know is that there are three. What we know based on what was given to us is that exes met in public and they looked like they were cordial, simple, and that's what I
An
saw.
appreciation
and
of
they showed
taking
an
care of my child.
appreciation. Yeah, so it showed that there's a relationship that in the behind the scenes that's working. You know, even if I don't know if maybe the new spouse is the reason for the breakup, you know, of that marriage. Whatever may have happened before, it looks like they have moved past it.
You walk through
And yes, or still working through it. But it shows an appreciation for the new partner. There must be something that's happening now that he recognizes that, you know, I appreciate you for that, and that's why that person gives you a hug. After all, nobody would put a gun to your head if you see someone who is toxic to you or your relationship and you don't say hi. Nobody's going to do anything to you. So for me, I think it's a lesson to learn, because there's some people who don't know how to act when they meet exes. And it's not because they feel angry, but it's just that no one has said to them, it's okay to be cordial, it's okay to say hello. So they don't know. So there's that awkwardness. But it's okay to say hello. And then if there's a need for a hug, for me, when you go as far as giving someone a hug, it must mean that there's something special that person has done. Or this
Shouldn't that
person
worry you as the
means-
current?
Well, the current is right there. And the current also hugged. So it just means
I
that
would give
there's
anything to hear the conversations that happened when they got home. I would give anything to hear.
Well, it seems like Chika has some part of this story that I'm unaware of. Based on what we're looking at, for me, it's just okay. I am married to a man who used to be married. And for me, I believe that the cordiality between my husband and his ex-wife has helped to keep our family together, because he has children from his first marriage who are just the loveliest people and love their brother and sister, my children, very well. They take their time out to spend time with them. They come to visit.
So
and imagine if I and their mom were constantly at loggerheads. I believe strongly it would affect the relationship with the children. But you know, there's respect. We're polite. You know, as long as it is respectful,
And
as long as
right?
as long as there are healthy boundaries that have been laid down. But there's nothing wrong with a hug if it needs a hug. There's nothing wrong with a handshake. What I would not stand for is people who lie to you and say that this person is just a friend or just an ex. Meanwhile, things are happening. It is not that being cordial with your ex is the problem. It's that you in particular are deceitful to your current partner, and you're having all sorts of relationship in the background and covering it up as friendship. Now that is a problem, and that's not the issue.
True. We'll take a break. I love what we've established. We've established the importance to know how they broke up. We've established how to keep cordiality because of children, how to understand the nuances involved. Being polite isn't love, and how sometimes when you get suspicious, it's because the partner involved is actually being deceitful. When we come back, we'll deal with when you are the partner you are the new partner in that relationship and you're suspicious of that cordialness. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So we have a caller, Onobanjo from Makowojo has been on the phone. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, madam. I'm so excited to be on your show this morning because I'm a first-time caller.
Yay! Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. This topic is really an interesting one, It's really an interesting one, though. But this is my take on this. I must say it. I'm a man, and I must say it. You see, when we say X means X. Even if they have separated in a good way or in a bad way, X means X. You should just leave it like that. Men, I'm a man. Men are funny. I'm not saying all of them, though. But in Nigeria, using Nigeria as a context, men are funny. Men, as a man who is no longer with his former wife, now meeting her in a public place, hugging her, doing all sorts of things.
The husband.
They know, he knows her weak point. Anything can lead to anything.
Thank you.
I will tell you.
for going there.
Tell you this. This is Africa. Anything, a handshake,
Africa.
well, that's pretty good.
You can reach
You don't need to hug. You don't need to. Okay, he just hugged the former wife. Do you know what is going on in the present husband's mind? You don't know what will go at the back. What we are just in, the man is just spending money and all that. Do you know what the man will tell her when he gets home? You don't know. And I will say this: don't get offended because you are ladies. I say it. I tell people that if you get married to somebody who has a kid, I'll say it. I'm a Yoruba person. You are marrying somebody else's wife.
No, not so.
I will tell you. Don't get offended with this, please. Don't get.
It's your view.
Somebody else's wife. Yes, you are marrying somebody else's wife.
Thank you so much, Onabanjo, for bringing that context. And it's your view, and the show is about everybody being able to fully express their view. But Onabanjo's opinion is of a strong one that has a lot of cultural leaning, where people just believe that if a man has had a relationship with someone, there was a reason for that relationship. And so attraction might not necessarily die out, except the person is a really, really horrible person. It might, the sparks can be, the flame, it can be stroked back to life. Yes, stoked back to life. So that consciousness is there. But let me tell you, we did not know the entire story. So there was more to the story that we didn't know. So while we're on break, that's how Chika now went to do some James Bond investigation, FBI moves, and discovered that there are a bit more context that we need to take into cognizance of, like the fact that the divorce was messy. There were allegations of domestic violence and cheating. Allegations of domestic violence and cheating. On both sides, there were allegations of domestic violence from the husband, that's the Ibrahim, as well as from the ex-wife. And there were also allegations of cheating
from the wife
to the husband,
ex-husband.
counter allegation, whichever way. So putting that in your mind, would you say that it's possible to go from that place when it happened to a place where you truly have healed and forgiven and moved on?
I believe that people can do the work. I want to believe that nobody is beyond redemption. I want to believe that people are redeemable. However, the willingness to be redeemed has to start from the individual. So it is very possible that they were both victims of domestic abuse and that they have learned from it. They have taken responsibility for their previous actions. They have done the work. They've gone to therapy. Then the better place is very possible. But I don't know what the time frames are because he expressly, according to the article that we read out, had previously expressed the sentiment that the woman, the ex-wife, wasn't a good mother to their son, and now, so I really don't know. I'm not in the private quarters with these people, but
let me
still, I share the sentiments that boundaries should just stay, because my mom used to say, something you will not eat, don't smell it. I'm not saying be enemies with your ex, especially when things are in a good place now. Oh, you can be cordial and civil, but that's as far as it goes, for my own peace of mind, for my own protection, because humans, you can do things that you never envisage yourself doing.
Let me talk to you about
because we hugged in public. Okay.
It's quite interesting. I listen to you amazing ladies. But so I belong to a social club, right? So before I joined the social club, I don't like to hug, right? So even if you want to shake me, I just like, don't shake me, I don't know where your hands have been to. But hugging is actually safer than shaking. Right, because you're shaking the person, there's a direct contact, but then you have your clothes covering you, right? So that aside, I got into the golfing sector or community, everybody wants good. I'm seeing and you know there are lots of people there, you know, and then I have to hug everybody. So the fact that I'm hugging them, does that mean I have love or have any intention?
Definitely not.
No,
That's not what we're saying.
right? But then I'm looking at the video. The man, the Ibrahim, hugged the husband and the wife.
Yeah.
It was equally. It was just nothing. And then coming to you, Chika, you know, it's very important that we forgive, right? To move on. Yeah, we have outbreaks, we've had exes who has, you know, hurt us, and we feel like, you know, I just feel like stabbing this person. You know, we get to that point.
It gets
right?
that bad. Yeah.
But you know, with time, and that's why they say time heals all wounds. With time, this thing just go away, and you have to forgive. Not for
with
them.
forgiveness, but does forgiveness
for
mean that
them.
you
Not
go
for the
back to
child.
being how things used to
No,
be?
exactly. It's just a hug.
So I have nothing against forgiveness.
Right?
No, I
It's just
don't.
that to me, that's very harmless. Very, very harmless.
Like that's the word. It seems harmless.
Another context to put into this is the fact that I'll come to you. They have a son who is living with the ex-wife and her new husband. And from what we saw online, the son is being well taken care of. So from the look of that hug, is like I am appreciating this family that are taking care of my son. And you know, it's just a case of I'm honoring them and politely hugging them, and I don't think there's anything personally wrong with that. But I know that Ramatu was going to say something, you know, to put into that conversation. And I'd like to hear your own view.
Yeah, so all these hug interpretations, everybody has
exactly
that hug alone, everybody has dissected, brought out different meanings, and you know. But for me, I don't think there should be hug. For me, if we're going to be cordial, it should just be hello, you know, and then go and sit down. And thank God, my religion, my culture, you know, backs the fact that we can't see each other and start hugging and all of that. Because what if you hug and then it's, you know, when you hug, there are so many things that happen. You start remembering some memories, past memories.
I said
what
it though.
Then you hug. Aqua currents.
Because you
touching aqua currents.
Yes, things in front of me touching.
Let me take a phone
Things
call.
are touching, you know, and all of that. So you know, it can spark a lot of things.
They are different. That's what I'm saying.
Cultural.
Let me just take this phone call, and then I'll come back to aqua current.
I'll explain what the current means. I'll explain it.
Current now.
Stay with us. Let me take this call. Welcome to the show. Good morning. Oh, I'm so
Let me
sorry.
explain current to you. You've never hugged a man before. That you hugged him. Next thing, you just felt swellings.
You gave him full hug now.
Okay, you see, let's be defining the extent of the hug.
was just a sign.
Hugging and
What they did was not a side hug.
It was a hug of I'm so grateful to see you.
Hugging and ex.
Thank you so much.
When I'm happy to see you. When I'm happy to see you. When I'm happy to see you. Well, it's not you can, because when you
Other
don't
body parts might be happy to see the person.
One after the other. Let me hear from her.
From what I would say, given the angle that Ramatu has gone, if hugging bothers you that much, you shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
You know, if you just hugging someone and all of a sudden your whole
Contacts
hormones are just haywire.
You can't tell. You can't
Why
tell.
are you so sure of other people if it's not what happens to you? You can only speak from your own experience because you're never sure of the other person. Now you give a scenario where you hug someone and you feel, well, then never hug the person again. You know, because I know you've hugged many people in your lifetime, and I'm sure that experience does not happen every time that you hug someone.
But it does.
Yes.
A few
Have you
times.
sat in a bus with, just beside someone?
Yes.
People
No, we understand.
physiology is
See,
different
we know
though.
that people can be quite weird.
Yeah.
We understand that.
Yeah.
But
we're looking at this particular situation here. That was a hug in public. For me, I can understand Ramatu's culture, but at least if you live in Lagos, if you live in the South, even in the North, yes, hugging isn't seen as being too. At least the hug that we've seen
Different
here.
types of hugs.
Yes, there are different kinds of hugs, and these particular hugs that we saw were friendly hugs, hugs
With
to
joy
greet
and-
someone.
yes.
Yes, it was not them
And
holding
man was
on to
nodding
each
like,
other
"I'm praying for
and
you, thank you."
Between two exes.
in public.
Yes, in
I
public.
don't even know why we're still talking about the hugs. Can we move on from the hugs, please? I just
Yes.
wanted to say,
Yes, we
because
are moving
Chika
on.
was, you know, you mentioned that because of how they went their separate ways, sometimes, you know, you can't see yourself even being cordial with some people. And I understand that because, you know, I've heard many times that people who, while they are going through the divorce, there are different stages to that thing. That usually in the beginning of it, you find that they hate each other so much.
Yeah.
They would say the worst things about each other, some exaggerated, some just blatant lies. Because at that point, I want to hurt you as much as you hurt me. So I'm not saying that there aren't situations where there was serious physical or abuse, but sometimes also at that stage in the beginning, you just say the worst things about each other. But you know one thing about human beings and just life is that life happens. And then when you are completely away from this person who was toxic to you, who just made you feel the worst, somehow their good sides, you start to see them for who they are. Understand that you're just a human being with your flaws as I am, and I can see you now for your good sides. As long as I don't have to deal with you in my house, I can appreciate you for what you're doing. And then if we even share children, I can appreciate your role in how our children are being raised and you know how they are turning out. And because of that, I give you that respect. It doesn't mean that I love you, I want to get back with you, but I just know that from afar, as exes, I give you the love, I give you the respect. So those sort of things happen in real life.
Yeah.
Being in a broken relationship is not always about people who just want to kill each other.
Not
Sometimes
always
have you heard people who have divorced? Sorry, one last thing. And say, you know what? I messed that relationship up. It was me that messed it up. And
with
because
that
of that, I'll
realization,
always
more
respect this
maturity.
person and I'll... So
Those happen. Let me take Francis. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies.
good morning, Mr. Francis.
You see, this kind of discussion, how do I put it? But people say, when you don't get money to drink beer, you go say it's bitter. The truth about this thing is, do what works for you. If they're okay with what they have done, then it's about them. I have an ex that, when I wasn't married, she got married and she did not invite me. She did not inform me. And I asked her why. She said, look, it's because I cannot look at you and seeing myself getting married to another person. But it didn't work for us, but I know what I feel for you. So in her own case, she cannot even look at me eyeball to eyeball.
Wow.
If this one, if we are talking, it's even hug. Somebody is telling you eyeball to eyeball. If I see you, some miracle will happen. So it's a different thing for different people.
Wow.
Go for what works for you. If it works for them that they can hug and go their way, my dear sisters, please leave it. It's only in Nigeria where even the hug we're talking about. Go to Russia, go to France. They will even want to go as far as doing a lot of things that if it's a typical Igbo man, they carry a fork, put for your head for doing that. You know, I'm just saying, one of our sisters in the studio said her culture will not allow it. Let me tell you, I'm a typical Igbo man. There is how you will hug my wife. I will just be looking at your forehead. I will look at your forehead. There is the way I will be looking at you. I understand what is going on, but if it works for them, they have that maturity to handle the situation. It's how you handle your thing. Then, finally, the individuals involved in this, they can do it. We can feel what we are feeling, that, oh, they have nothing. Like, I'm watching the video here, even as I'm looking at it, I feel like drawing, if it's me, I feel like drawing them away, you know. I won't feel comfortable. What I'm saying is, the lady is okay, the two guys are okay, then let's leave them. Do what works for you. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't work for me, because me, it will not even work. Me, I don't even want to hear his name. I don't want to hear his name.
Thank you so much for your presence. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll take this from the angle of the new partner in the relationship and how they should handle that level of embrace. In what form? Stay with us, we'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So we're taking it from the angle of if you find yourself in a relationship with, or you're married to someone and they have a cordial relationship with their ex, how would you, as the new person in that relationship, feel, especially when they have history together, you know, where you meet with your husband, or you're with your boyfriend or with your girlfriend, and the person's having like, you know what happened 20 years ago? Oh my God, 10 years ago that we went to. How are you supposed to relate? How would the person deal with their emotions? How would they manage themselves? I'm going to come to you because I find that just give me your opinion. How would you advise somebody manages that kind of relationship?
So I know popular opinion will be no way. But then let's also be open-minded to say, see, you know, I said something. If my husband and my ex are doing business together, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. Right? That's the question, right? Yeah. I wouldn't mind because I know, okay, you know what?
Sorry, your husband and his ex, for instance.
And your ex.
And wait.
And his
my
ex.
husband and his ex, and they are doing business together, I wouldn't mind. You know why?
As you know, it is business only.
Thank you. See, it's very important in relationship. Trust, that word trust is very important. You should be able to beat your chest and say, my husband is somewhere, in as much as it can be difficult. We know that stereotype that says that men don't trust men, but there are good men out there. There are men that their yes is their yes and their no is their no. So you know the partner that you're going out with or the partner that you're settling with. So it's very important that, you know, I wouldn't mind. But if I know that my partner is someone that cannot stay without, you know, without his body moving, I will mind though. I would mind. That's why I said know your partner. Okay. Know the person you're in a relationship with or the person you're married to.
Okay, so I beg to differ. As long as you people have been together before, there's no business. With the whole 200 million, how many million Nigerians, you didn't see other people to do business. It's your ex that you want to do business with. It's a no. I will not. No. It's not going to be. Yeah.
See, because I know that they're exes.
You need to realize that you don't need to agree.
Yes. Yeah.
So because the context is that she is not bothered. Yeah. You are bothered. Yeah. Do what works for you. Yeah. She doesn't work for them. Let me take this call and I come to you, Mariam.
Okay. You don't settle.
Welcome to the show. Good morning. Hello.
Yes, hello. Good morning. So this scenario, it is strictly exceptional. So it is indeed a controversial one.
Wow.
So it is controversial because it's against many cultures right here in Nigeria. I'm an Ikale man from Ondo State.
Everybody's calling their ethnicity today.
It's an abomination you do that. I'm a Pentecostal Christian. You don't do that, according to my faith.
All combined.
Sure, you understand. So it is an exceptional thing, and a very highly controversial thing. So it is an elite thing. And mind you, these guys, they are public figures. Yeah. So what you see on the camera, oftentimes, are not the real thing. So you just see the way they present it and take it like we are watching a movie. Yeah. That's all.
Thank you so much for that. You know, you mentioned it earlier that maybe they're just acting. Like, let's not show our true colors.
So exactly, and that makes my point. So why act as if we want to kill each other when we can act that like we're civil? So that means you even recognize that it could be acting. So that means it means nothing. You know, I think that makes my point even better. You know, that means they're just acting to be civil. Maybe behind closed doors, they really hate each other. But in the public eye, we meet and people don't need to know our business. And they just think that we're cool and we move on and face our lives. You know, for me, a hug is not a problem for me. I don't see it as a huge thing. I haven't yet seen, you know, a hug that has bothered me.
Yeah.
This sort of hug. I'm not talking of a full embrace. I'm talking of regular hug. Now, I was going to say, concerning the things that would bother me, you know, with exes would be, I walk into my house and then I see my partner and an ex by themselves, and I was not aware that there was supposed to be a meeting. Or I hear that, oh, my husband or my spouse was at my ex's, and I did not have any idea about it. So for me, this hug won't bother me. These are the sort of things. I'm trying to be specific. Like, what are the things? Or I hear that there was even a business that happened, and but I was never in the know. That will bother me. And what I'm saying here is that as long as there's deception, I would not. That would be crossing boundaries. For me, I believe in trusting your partner and trusting your spouse, but I also believe that you earn it and that you can lose it if you betray it, So sometimes the trust is not always given me. Yes, I may start with trusting you, but if you betray my trust, you will have to earn it back, So I would ask questions. So don't deceive me. If you deceive me, I don't care if it was just a smile because you have betrayed my trust, I will question everything. But usually I will come from a place of trust. I've married you and I believe that we have the same values and we have, and we see life, at least similar. And I would not expect the person that I'm in a relationship with to think that you can go around and mess with an ex and that is fine. So I'll go into a relationship thinking that you think the same way. If I am to go into a relationship with someone that I already know thinks it's okay to cross some boundaries with an ex, then I would not even get into that relationship. So for me, it would be a huge betrayal of trust if you mess with your ex and say to me, I will not understand it was a mistake or things like that. But that I see you just hugging, like the hug that I saw, not a problem.
So with all these things you have just said now, why can't we just totally avoid it? How do we totally avoid it? It's by everybody staying different.
No, but she mentioned why she can't avoid it, which is because when there's a child involved, to maintain, it's important to take away your own emotions or insecurity for the sake of the child. At every point in time, we need to prioritize the minors and protect the minors. And I know sometimes it might mean that the mature ones on the adults are making huge sacrifice and maybe feel bad about it a few times, but remember that these children they didn't beg to come to this world. You are the one that opted for them. Now, that still there's a caveat to it, to the threat of your life. As long as there's no threat to your life, you can continue. We want to go on a break and come back to our interview. We are concluding on this topic right now. But we've said a whole lot and we've agreed to disagree that there is no one-size-fits-all to this situation. We cannot tell you how to relate with your ex, but we can tell you that being cordial and being polite does not mean love, and it's not a license to cheat. You can be cordial and polite in boundaries, within boundaries. Also protect your children, and for the sake of the child involved, maintain a cordial relationship as much as possible. And the final thing is trust. Trust can be earned and trust can be broken, but if they have not broken the trust, give that seed of trust to the person you're in a relationship with. Final. Do what works for you. Whatever we've said works for us. Choose your own. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.